Well, we've seen that the prophet's message of destruction and punishment and doom is very often accompanied by, often alternates with a message of consolation and a promise of restoration of a purged or purified remnant in the land of Israel. This is where the prophets differ from the Deuteronomistic historian. The Deuteronomistic historian is more concerned with the justification of God's actions against Israel than with painting a vivid portrait of the time of a future restoration. But this period of restoration is elaborately envisioned in some prophetic writings, and it even takes on an eschatological tenor. The word eschatology means an account of the end. So in some of them, this becomes an eschatological vision, that this is what the restoration will happen at the end of days. The restoration will bring about some sort of perfect end time. So in Isaiah, for example, the return will be a genuine, wholehearted, and permanent return to God. It will be the end of sin. It will be the end of idolatry. All the nations of the earth will recognize the Lord of history. A new epoch will open in world history. It's an enormous transformation. And Isaiah is the first to envisage this kind of transformation, the end of the dominion of idolatrous nations. When God comes to Jerusalem to save the remnant of Israel and gather in the dispersed exiles, it will be a theophany, a self-revelation of God of worldwide scope. Isaiah 2, verses 2 to 4. In the days to come, the mount of the Lord's house shall stand firm above the mountains and tower above the hills. So this little hill, if you've ever been there, it's really not very big, that the temple stood on will tower like some large, impregnable mountain over all other hills and mountains, and all the nations shall gaze on it with joy. And the many peoples shall go and say, Come, let us go up to the mount of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may instruct us in his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For instruction, Torah, shall come forth from Zion, the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. And thus he will judge among the nations, and arbitrate for the many peoples. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again know war. Note this, the direction that Israelite thought is taking. The J source in Genesis assumed that all humans had knowledge of Yahweh from the time of creation. And remember that that was one of the distinctive traits of J as opposed to P, for example. They assumed, however, that humans turned from Yahweh. So Yahweh selected one nation to know him and covenant with him. The book of Deuteronomy accepts that Yahweh is Israel's God. Other nations have been assigned to the worship of other gods, and that's just fine. But in classical prophecy, universal claims are made on behalf of Yahweh. According to the prophets, God will make himself known to all the nations, as he once did to Israel, and the universal worship or recognition of Yahweh will be established at the end of days. This is a very different idea. And so, as a consequence of this idea, the very notion of Israel's election is transformed by the prophets. In the Torah books, the election of Israel means simply God's undeserved choice of Israel as the nation to know him and bind itself in covenant to him. But in the prophetic literature, Israel's election is an election to a mission.